Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Futuh Al Ghaib, The Revelations of the Unseen by Muhiyeddeen Qadir Al Gilani Qaddasallahu Sirrahul Azeez. The 50th discourse. He, may Allah be pleased with him, said, "The state of your affairs can be either the one or the other of the following two. The state of your affairs can be either the one or the other of the following two. Number one, either you are not in the nearness of Allah, the Mighty, the Glorious, or you are close to Him. Either you are not in the nearness of Allah, the Mighty, the Glorious, or you are close to Him. Now, if you are away from Him, how is it that you are sitting idle and are remiss in obtaining your large share and blessing and abiding honor and plentifulness and security and self-sufficiency and lavish care in the world and in the hereafter? Now, if you are far away from Him, how is it possible that you are sitting idle and are remiss in obtaining your large share and blessing and abiding honor and plentifulness and security and self-sufficiency and lavish care in this world and in the hereafter? So wake up and hasten in your flight towards Him with your two wings. One of these wings is renunciation of enjoyments and of unlawful desires for them and of permissible things and all comforts. One of the two wings is renunciation of enjoyments and of unlawful desires for them and of permissible things and all comforts. The other is bearing of pain and unpleasant things and to embark on difficult adventures and to get away from people and desires and wishes in the world and in the hereafter, so as to be successful in union with Allah and nearness to Him. Then you will get all that a man may desire and obtain. You will then have great exaltation and honor. And if you are among those who have been honored with His kindness and whom His love has absorbed and who have received His mercy and compassion, then show the best of manners and do not be puffed up with the thought of the state of yours, lest you should become negligent of your service and should lean towards the original arrogance, ignorance, and oppression and hastiness. There's a word of Allah in this connection in the Quran, and man bore it. Surely he is unjust and ignorant. Chapter 33, verse 72. Again, in Holy Quran, chapter 17, verse 11, and man is ever hasty. And protect your heart from being inclined towards what you have renounced of people and desires and wishes and option and effort, and from losing patience and harmony and pleasure with Allah at the time of the befalling of calamity. But throw yourself before Him in the manner of a ball before a polo player, who makes it revolve by his stick, or like a dead body in front of a man who gives its funeral bath, or like a suckling baby in the lap of the mother or nurse. Protect your heart from being inclined towards what you have renounced of people and desires and wishes and option and effort, and from losing patience and harmony, and pleasure with Allah at the time of befalling calamity, but throw yourself before Him in a manner such as a ball before a polo player, or a dead body in front of a man who gives his funeral bath, or a suckling baby in the lap of a mother or a nurse. Be blind to what is beside him. Be blind to what is besides him, so that you do not see anything but him. Be blind towards anything besides him, so that you do not see anything but him. Be blind to what is besides him, so that you do not see anything but him. Nothing that exists, neither any harm, nor any benefit, nor any gift, nor any withholding of a gift, except for the will of Allah. Consider the people and the worldly means at the time of suffering and calamity as lashes from him. Consider the people and the worldly means at the time of suffering and calamity as lashes from him. The mighty, the glorious, with which he strikes you, and consider them at the time of comfort and ease and gift as his hand that is feeding you. The 51st discourse. He, may Allah be pleased with him, said, the man of piety receives his reward twice by way of his portion. The man of piety receives his reward twice by way of his portion. First, on account of his renouncing the world, so that he does not take to it on account of his desire, nor in compliance with the urges of his own self, but it is just to fulfill the commandment of Allah that he has anything to do with. So when his enmity with his own self and opposition to his own desires are established, and he is counted among the verifiers of truth and friends of Allah, and he is admitted in the company of Abdal and Arifin, the knowers of the truth. It is then that he is commanded to take to the world and establish contact with it, because now there is a portion for him in it which cannot be discarded and which has not been created for anyone other than him. And after the recording of which the pen of destiny has become dried, and about which the knowledge of Allah has gone beforehand, then when the commandment has been fulfilled, he takes his share of the world, or receiving information about the knowledge of Allah, he establishes contact with the world to act as the vehicle of the destiny appointed by him and his action in the matter, without his being involved in it and without any desire or purpose and effort on his part. He is rewarded on the account of these for the second time, because he does all these things in absolute obedience to the commandment, or to be in accord with the act of Allah in this matter. Then, if it be said, how did you make the statement about reward in connection with one who has been in a very high spiritual position, and who, according to your own description, has been admitted in the category of the Abdal and Arifin, and who has been among those accepted by Allah, having vanished from people and their own selves, and from desires and purposes and enjoyments and wishes and expectations of rewards on account of their deeds. People who see in all their acts of obedience and worship nothing but acts of Allah and His mercy and His blessings and His backing and provision of ease from Him, and who believe that they are nothing but the humble servants of Allah, and that a servant has no right as against his matter, seeing that his person and his movements and his reposes and his efforts are all possessions of his master. People who see in all their acts of obedience and worship nothing but acts of Allah and His mercy and His blessings and His backing and provisions of ease of Him, and who believe that they are nothing but the humble servants of Allah. They believe that they are nothing but the humble servants of Allah, and that a servant has no right as against his master, seeing that his person and his movement and his reposes and his efforts are all possessions of his master. How then can it be said in relation to such a person that he is rewarded, seeing that he does not ask for any reward? Seeing that he does not ask for any reward or anything else in exchange for his action, and does not see any action as proceeding from him, but considers himself among the worthless people and among the poorest of the poor in respect of deeds. If it is to be said, the reply would be, you have spoken the truth, excepting that Allah bestows His grace on him and nourishes him with food and care with His blessings, and brings him up with His kindness and tender care and mercy and favor. When he has restrained his hand from the affairs of his own self, and from asking for its enjoyments, which are reserved for the afterlife, and from deriving and benefit out of it, and from wandering, and from warding off any harm arising out of it. So much so that he becomes like a suckling baby, which has no movement in affairs of his self, and who is nurtured with fond care with the grace of Allah and sustenance provided by him at the hands of his parents, who are his guardians and the protectors. When he has taken away from him all interest in his own affairs, he makes the hearts of people incline towards him, and infuses his mercy and compassion in the hearts, so much so that everyone becomes kind to him and becomes inclined to him and does him a good turn. When he has taken away from his all interest in his own affairs, Allah makes his heart alight, and he makes the hearts of the people incline towards him, and infuses his mercy and compassion in the hearts, so much so that everyone becomes kind to him and becomes inclined to him and does him a good turn. And in this way, everything besides Allah becomes such as does not move but with his commandment. And in response to his act, and the grace of Allah attends him in this world and in the hereafter, nurturing him in both in this world and the hereafter, and keeping away from him all the suffering. So it is that Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, said, surely my friends of Allah, who has revealed the book, and he befriends the good. Surely my friends is Allah, who has revealed the book, and he befriends the good. Surely my friend is Allah, who has revealed the book, and he befriends the good. Chapter 7, verse 196.